in terms of that, so given the global nature of biotech, you clearly believe there is like a unique advantage as well from Latin America because you're competing globally. So what do you think that is? What do you think is the unique thing that Latin American scientists or companies from biotech can excel at compared to everyone else?
Yes, I think we have great advantages for the early stage, of this of these companies. Then we have to see process. We are too early yet, no, to really see advantages in the latest stages. But in the early stages, we have huge advantages. One is that what I mentioned, that almost all the scientists in the region are working at the academia. So if you become a startup, you have we used to say there is an like talent arbitrage opportunity, so
Mhm.
you don't have to compete with Genentech or with a $100 million funded startup that is hiring PhDs, no, to keep the best talent for your startup. No? So the talent is there, and our ambition is to have at least of those 200,000 researchers in life sciences is to have like 20,000 researchers working in startups in the next 10 years in the region. No? That could be like a huge impact, no? And could be very very new. I think that the first one is that like talent arbitrage opportunity, and the second one is that there is a cost arbitrage opportunity. A PhD in the region could cost like a tenth of what it costs in the US and when in Europe. And also that is very important for the first couple of dozens, millions dollars that you are putting into a startup to try to expand the frontiers of knowledge.
Well, that's for sure. That's for sure. Because let's say only yesterday I heard about company pitching here in Florida, a biotech company that wanted to have between 5 and 10 million immediately out of the gate, basically only with a presentation to build up their first facility. And comparing that to some of the startups that Grid Exponential has been introducing us to is crazy to hear the differences in number one, the requirements of cash that they need to be able to get testing facility number two, expansion of lab number two, building that physical infrastructure, and from there is like when you look beyond that, when you look at the OPEX, it's crazy. The comparisons, it's like with the one person salary in the US, you have a full team operating, and you've been building hardware infrastructure to support your experiments and testing your hypothesis. It's crazy.
Yeah,
People
totally.
don't know. But then it's a very fascinating point that what you mentioned now here, that the first point is that talent arbitrage is that a lot of folks, when you go to the US or you go to Europe, for the further you go basically from your home, and we take Chile, Argentina, Colombia, they are not only culturally distant, but they can be like they're geographically super far away. And the people, we are group animals. We start thinking about what do we don't know. It's going to be scary. It's going to be confusing. So it's like very interesting that you mentioning the talent arbitrage over there, because a lot of folks think that that the talent is not as capable. So that's
Yeah,
why it's like the companies in the US, or you go to Sweden, you go to Finland, you go to the Netherlands, the companies are raising so much more money. Number one, because they need to, otherwise they cannot maintain their operations. They cannot prove their hypothesis. And but when now global investors are looking at America, I think that you also have a lot of work to be done in terms of explaining the talent arbitrage, because people don't believe. First of all, it's going to be too, cheap cost of labor. They think that they must be bad in what they do. So I don't like. Can you also like elaborate a little bit on that before we even go to your third point that you were mentioning? Why Latin America is that? Why do you say that the talent is great? Are there universities like when before me entering the world of Latin America and really going through the region from Mexico down all the way to almost Tierra del Fuego in Argentina? I have never heard about the universities. Nobody's ever mentioned to me about those. There are a lot of people who are saying that this and this school is great. They went to the best schools. I've never heard about them because in the rankings, the global ranks, we never see them. So is the talent really good? Like, are the universities so great? The research, they're great. Why are where is this coming from? This number one point of yours that there is talent arbitrage.
No, that's a very good point, and it's a very challenging point to build confident with investors. Uh, we always say that uh, pitches and proposals from our startups and defenses of what they are doing have to be uh, 10x better than the general uh, people, because if you have like a Harvard bucket a startup competing with a like UBA or CONICET startup,
University of
it's,
Buenos Aires, by the way, for the audience, is UBA. Yeah.
it's and CONICET is like the Council of Science and Technology in Argentina. That is very prestigious, but n- n- there's no investors that really know what CONICET means. No, so it's very challenging. But I think that slowly we are doing. No, so today is uh, more easy to a startup coming out from a portfolio to go to San Francisco and to say, where you come from? From Argentina. Oh, and where is Argentina? You maybe even
Yeah.
don't know what it is. But instead of only talking about that they're coming from Argentina, say, okay, no, I come from the same place that a company like Stam or like Bflow or like Congo Precision or Chemical or like Puna Bio. I said, okay, I know those guys. Yes, yes. And I talked to the scientists, and
Yeah.
and they're really really cool, and they're really good scientists, and I've been looking for the work and on the papers, not only the commercial work, also the scientific data. I did a due diligence, or a friend of mine did a due diligence on that,
Yeah.
and I see that this is good stuff. No, so this is
Mhm.
competitive stuff. So we have some like more objective arguments to use, like activity, like journals were publishing before for the start the
Yeah.
process to great companies. But those when you at the end of the day put that this conversation of comparing like Harvard, Stanford, Davis, or Berkeley, or you name which university against those, even that you have like a like concrete information that should give the evidence that they have to be good, no, because they have these scientific careers. The more strong evidence or process to create the confidence is the examples that they are seeing of companies coming out from particular Argentina in this
Yeah.
case, but it's going to be for the rest of the region in the future.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then you basically, sorry, I interrupted you over there. You were mentioning the third point to Bautista's questions on number one was talent, number two was a cost arbitrage, and now the third point that you were trying to make.
Yes, and the third point is very particular because it's the biodiversity that we have here in the region. No?
Yeah.
Latin America is the most biodiverse region in the world. And why is this important in this new scenario of biotech companies that are data driven companies? This kind of companies. It's not only about biology, it's also about the data that you can have. So in general, you see the biodiversity and the forest, and that you have to maintain biodiversity because a matter of sustainability and
Yes.
ecosystem balance. No? And that's, of course, is true, and it's very important. But as we are transforming biology into digital, there is a lot of information in that biodiversity that could really impact the world in significant ways. There's a evolution over there of microorganisms and plants in animals that can really have solutions for health, for food, for agriculture, and much more stuff. Thinking about and understanding the that biodiversity, I think is a huge asset that the region has today.
Absolutely. And isn't that might be turning into your advantage so that the folks living in Latin America have just an easier and faster access to all of the mysteries of, for instance, the Amazonia, that we don't even know what's there. Isn't that what the predictions are? That we don't really
Yeah,
know what can be done by getting out of our nature. Um,
totally. Yes. there is an expectation that there are a lot of solutions coming out from that nature that we really don't know. That I don't have very well the numbers, but just to make an example, no, I think it's something like the 70 or 80% of the drugs available in the world came out from nature, mimicking nature. Our molecules that we are trying to imitate from nature. No, your grandmother like make with a grass something, the curio, the flu or something. So they see which kind of molecules were in that kind of grass, and they do something about that. So something like 70% of the drugs all the work coming out from nature, and we explore something like the 10% of nature. We know, and we mapped something about like 10% of the biodiversity of the world. So imagine what could happen with that 90% that we really didn't map. And it's not only that the percentage of nature and biodiversity that we didn't map is the speed of mapping and the capabilities that now we have as we digitize biology. The speed of understanding combinations and possibilities of that biology is a huge opportunity, and that information there is a huge asset.